Sakhal is a map that has never been too far from critique, whether it's the players who love it or the ones who decided to pass. But let's be honest here, none of this really matters unless the map sells, and given DayZ's popularity right now, the hopes and expectations for this map were extremely high. But were they too high? Sorry, but let's find out. If you liked the video, please leave a like or a subscribe, it really helps me out. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Oh, it's that kind of party. And as always, let me know your thoughts on Sakhal below. I'm curious to see how you feel now it's been out for a while and received a few patches. But let's begin. When it comes to DayZ, a game that has endured its fair share of ups and downs, the release of a new map is always a big deal. From the moment Sakhal was announced, the DayZ community was buzzing. The developers promised a map that would push players to their limits, and the early trailers seemed to deliver on that promise. The icy landscapes looked great, with snow-covered forests, frozen lakes, and abandoned Soviet-era settlements, creating a hauntingly beautiful atmosphere. Wow, I kind of turned into Neil Gaiman in those last few sentences. You know, minus the accusations of sexual assault. Yeah, there's still time. However, with all the hype came a fair share of skepticism. Some players wondered if Sakhal was being overhyped. After all, it isn't the first time developers of a game have made ambitious promises that didn't always pan out. The trailers look stunning, but trailers can be deceiving. Would the map live up to expectations set by the developers? Would the new mechanics feel like a meaningful addition or just a gimmick? The community was divided. Some were convinced that Sakhal would be a game changer, while others worried it would probably fall short, just like Livonia had years earlier. I actually really liked Livonia, it's just every time I recommended it to somebody they looked at me like I'd just grown a second head. And the hype train was fueled further by streamers and content creators who were given early access to the map. Hey, that's me. But even those early glimpses didn't silence the doubters. Some players argued that the map looked too barren, others questioned whether it would add anything to the PC and if it was just there to appeal to console players who still haven't seen mods added. Hint hint. So the debate raged on, and in true DayZ fashion, Sakhal became one of the most anticipated and scrutinized maps on DayZ, and it wasn't even released yet. But all of this aside, would players take the plunge? The DLC's $27 price tag raised eyebrows, with some skeptical about whether Sakhal could deliver enough value. This was actually a major point for some people who just didn't want to pay that much for a DLC, so the community was split. Some were eager to dive into the icy wilderness, while others hesitated, haunted by the memory of Livonia's lukewarm reception and the price. There's a lot of temperature related imagery here, I'm not sure why, I don't like it. But the debate raged on forums and social media, with some players arguing that the price was too steep for a single map, while others pointed out the new mechanics and unique challenges as proof that Sakhal was worth it. And then it released, and the reception and numbers, well, let's look at them. In just over 2 months after release, Sakhal shattered expectations, selling over 200,000 units. DayZ climbed to the Steam top 5 most played games, breaking its all-time player count record along the way, and those sales went up to 500,000 by the end of the year. Now, I don't know what their personal projections were, so it's hard to say whether or not they reached their personal goal, but to hit 500,000 on a DLC for a 10-year-old game that was all but dead a few years ago, that's incredible. That was just unexpected. And as for every negative comment I see on my channel, which kind of inspired me to make this video, I see 10 more positive ones from people who love it. And as a DayZ content creator who obviously loves the game so much I started an entire channel for it, it's amazing to see, especially because this wasn't just a map. I think that's where a lot of people get confused. Personally, I feel as though this was a bit of a test, because they now know if they dedicate their time and energy to larger projects like this, there's a return and there's a lot of positivity to come from it. And at the end of the day, that's good for them and us going forward. So I'm genuinely excited to see what the future holds for DayZ. But if you want to see more DayZ content and help the channel out, maybe subscribe or click here for something else, or here for something else. And as always, until next time.